Welcome to Outlier on Air. Today we are in sunny San Diego. We are at the home of Nick Unsworth of Life on Fire. It literally took us months and months just to get a hold of him so that we could get through his door. Just playing. Thank you so much for welcoming us into your home, showing us the Unsworth headquarters, as you call it. I really appreciate it. You can actually check out that walkthrough, behind the scenes walkthrough, at outliermagazine.co. It's a bonus video. So we did kind of an MTV Crib style walkthrough. Check it out. And now we're going to sit down and really just dig into Nick. And you know, you've really accomplished a lot in your life. You've been through some difficult times, and we want to share in that. We want to learn from you, pull back the curtain, and see what you're doing here as an
Open up the kimono.
So to speak.
Yeah.
But you live in a beautiful, wonderful place. You, as we talked about when we walked in the door, you know, the first thing you said was how blessed you are to be in this kind of environment here on the beach. We're out looking at the bay right now with sailboats passing by. There's a fountain in the background, a beautiful breeze.
Wait, I think I see John Lee Dumas on the paddleboard.
Okay. Absolutely.
Just paddling away.
Yeah, so it hasn't always been that way, right?
No.
Like, you truly appreciate this. Now, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so it definitely, this is so new for me because, you know, back when I was in Connecticut, you know, just been an entrepreneur my whole life. Like, my kind of going way back, I'll kind of just start there. You know, my father, incredibly hardworking, and so I mean, we lived in Connecticut. He drove to New Hampshire and back, you know, as a commercial builder, and it was just beyond a strenuous situation. And he there's so much. I'm so inspired by him, and that's where I get a lot of my work ethic, because he was so focused on providing, but his job, you know, took up so much of his time. And so when I was a little kid, I didn't understand. It was like I wanted my dad around, right? You know, played football. I wanted to, you know, him to see the games and stuff. But you know, on the other hand, my mom, because of my dad, was able to be a stay-at-home mom. So she was always like, you can do anything your heart desires. Like, and she always was, whatever you can dream of, you can just do. And so that for me is something that I found that's my secret weapon. It's just the belief that I can do anything I put my mind to. And that's what's so cool, is that as a coach now, it's like, that's one of the things I help my clients with, because we're the ones that hold ourselves back. You know, if you've got the dream, and it's like, if you think about, you know, for any entrepreneur out there, or someone that's watching this show that wants to be an entrepreneur or wants to be at the next level, it's like, we're all capable of doing that. And it's just unlocking that potential and that fire and finding something that you're aligned with and you're passionate about. And that's one of the biggest things. That's like the absolute like backbone to my story, is that there's been so many times I've been like swinging for the fences. And in college it was network marketing, you know, and that was, I'd seen that business model before. And you know, a guy sat me down, like the typical network marketing, you know, in a coffee shop with a flip book, and he's like, 3 people who get 3, you know, who get 3 equals 2,781 people, you know, and I was like, oh my God, that's residual income. I could, instead of working for 40 years and retiring, I could work for 5 or 10 and create residual income. So I jumped onto that. I went full bore into it, and I was so excited because I was building a team and I was helping my team grow, and that's like what I really gravitated to, is like being able to help other people and having purpose behind the business.
Sure.
What was sad is that industry is very tough. Yeah. Most people don't make it, and so I look back and, you know, I was successful, you know, but my team wasn't flourishing. And then the parent company I was with, we were selling like local and long distance service.
Okay.
You know, those little telephone things.
Yes.
And you know, they unexpectedly went bankrupt. I was a little bit reckless with money, so I had like a, you know, $1,400 a month car insurance payment, and quickly burned through anything I had made and ended up in debt. And that was my first real experience with, you know, being in the harsh, you know, situation with a lot of debt. And then I chased the dream. It was like, all right, what else is out there? And I see Flip This House on TV and all these real estate shows, and it was like, that's where I can make it rich and, you know, have this lifestyle and have the nice place and stuff. But I did that, but I never really loved it. And that was one of the biggest lessons, is that I was doing it because of money and I wasn't doing it because of heart. And, you know, in that situation, I actually moved out here to San Diego in 2007, and literally 2 weeks after I got here, that's when the meltdown happened. That's when
With the
everything
company.
imploded. Well, the meltdown in the economy, the
Oh,
recession,
okay.
everything just imploded. And here I was in San Diego, you know, just changed my whole life to work with a friend and do like this big lending project, and everything just overnight was like gone. And we still finished it, but it was a brutal experience. Came back and it was like, you know, what's my next thing? Where can I go next? And you know, I wanted to do something where I felt like I had purpose and meaning, want to help people. So I created this thing called the New Perks card. It was like this little card, the size of a business card, and I had 45 different businesses in my town on it, and they could offer it. They offered discounts, and what happened was, if you had the card and you're walking in West Hartford and you see a nice restaurant, it had this nice diamond decal that says, "We proudly support the New Perks card of West Hartford," and you walk in and boom, half off a bottle of wine every Tuesday. You know, dry cleaner, you know, 20% off, and so it was great for consumers, it was great for businesses. And the cool thing is that when a consumer bought it for $20, as they're checking out, they got to choose where their $10 donation was going to go to. So I took the $20 that came in, and based on what they chose, 10 went to a big nonprofit, and I had Make-A-Wish and some huge nonprofits, and it was awesome because that was truly aligned with like giving back and supporting charity. And it was cool because I found that most people don't really want to give. And you know, if you ask someone to donate for something that's important to you, or if like a family member has an illness, it's like, you know, can you donate? But people were so reluctant, you know, and this made it a very smooth transition of like, hey, I want to buy the card anyway, and it's cool that, you know, half is going to go to charity. And so it took off, and like, you know, that was you know, one of the first times people around me, you know, friends and, you know, to some extent family, were like, wow, like this is really happening, and they, you know, started to believe in me again, you know, after all those failures and different things. And from that experience, another big teachable moment for me, or lesson, was I took advice from all these other business owners, and they're like, well, you've got to you got to go bigger with this. You proved it out, and you should hire this advertising company. So I hired an advertising company, 25 years of experience, 4 partners, and they're like, you've got to do TV commercials. And I look at it, I'm like, commercials? You know, at this point it's like 2008, and it was like, what about online marketing? What about all these innovative things? I had a 10-page marketing plan. These guys literally took it and threw it in the garbage. Like, just imagine, you're in a big meeting, and they're like, we're not going to be needing that anymore.
And you were hiring that.
Yeah, and it was just like, okay. And they wanted to do TV commercials that advertised to the whole state, but my concept was good in one town. And from that experience, I looked at it, and I didn't trust my gut, which is one of the biggest things. And our intuition is so spot on. It's like, whether it's the mother or the motherly instincts, or just any human, you know, we have feelings and intuition, and oftentimes they're right. We should trust them. And I didn't trust myself, you know, enough. And I said, you know, at the time I was like about 26, and I was like, oh, I'll just put my faith in these guys. I put everything I had, credit card, you name it, burned through $30,000 in 2 weeks on commercials, and sold 14 cards.
Oh, you're kidding
Yeah,
me.
I mean, imagine 14 cards, like crazy. And it was so tough. But then what happened from that experience is 2 things happened. One is I realized how untargeted those ads were, and that inspired me to want to find a better way. So I started thinking, like, there has to be a better way. How could business owners be so used to getting that bad of a return? What if I become the answer and I find a better way? So that was good. And that's one of the things that's like, as entrepreneurs, we always have monstrous challenges. And, you know, as a business coach, I'm helping my clients through challenges, and there's a mental toughness that you have to have, because, you know, you do this product launch and you're expecting to do $100,000 in revenue, and you do 50. You know, it's like every day as an entrepreneur, you just got to be comfortable knowing that you're going to be outside your comfort zone, that you're going to be faced with challenges. It's not the security of a regular job. And so in that spot, I looked at it and said, what are the positives in this awful situation? And I think that that's just one thing my mother kind of gave me, is always finding the positives, you know. And so the positive was, okay, yes, I'm now in a very tough financial spot, but I learned stuff, and I could take that and got inspired for the, you know, the Facebook to be a Facebook marketing expert, advertising expert. And the other thing is that when we pulled the plug on all those ads, the traffic kept coming, and I didn't know why. And I was freaking out, like, to the advertising company, like, I said stop, like, stop running the ads. Yeah, like you're like, what are you doing? Like, I can't afford any of this, you know, like, stop. And they're like, we are not running any more commercials. And so the web, you know, it didn't have like robust Google Analytics and all that stuff. So the web developer had his own analytics. I'm like, hey man, what's happening? Why are we still getting all these unique visits? And as it turns out, I got on the first page of Google nationally for the term new perks card. And so it didn't help because it was only relevant in that one town. But I got inspired by the power of the internet and Google and things. From that situation, a large national company noticed that we were taking their traffic, and I got served a big fatty lawsuit for trademark infringement. And the crazy thing was, I wanted to actually trademark the new perks card, but I was advised not to by the advertising company. They said wait and prove the concept. So again, trusting your gut. But from that situation, you know, I ended up having to, like, I mean, I'm an optimist, so I printed 10,000 of those cards. So giving them to churches and kids and families, and but from that situation, that's when I was stuck. I mean, that's where I lived in a 2-family home. It was a rough part of town. You know, my ex-girlfriend, girlfriend at the time, was like, "Are those fireworks on a Tuesday?" No, honey, those are gunshots. That was a 9mm firing out. You know, and it's not that it was like ghetto horrible. It was not that bad. I don't want to be too dramatic, but it was not a great environment for a guy, you know, at my age. You know, people were buying homes at my age, you know, and you know, so that's where I had the brown couch for my grandmother and things like that. And so I was just working out of the second, room, and just ended up at a mastermind. And that's one of the things that's a big part of what we do with Life on Fire is masterminds and the power. I mean, just us getting to know each other. I mean, there's so much synergy with our networks and what we're doing, and to link up with people that that you can help each other grow. And so I'm in this spot where I was so strapped financially, and I saw the sales letter from a guy at Evan Pagan, and I got so engrossed in it, and I watched this whole video. It was like an hour long, and he was selling his mastermind. It was $5,000, and I had to do it. This is at 2 in the morning, by the way.
Wow.
So,
okay.
Being resourceful, I was like, what, I need to invest in myself. I need to get out of this. At that time, I was now $50,000 in debt. Wow. I had been buying some courses from internet marketing. So, I was every guru's best friend. I was buying all these courses to learn, a better way, Facebook advertising.
And how long was this? How long ago was this?
That was, 2009,
okay.
and even into 2009, 2010, I broke through on stuff.
Okay.
And I begged a friend to go in on half with me because he could bring a guest, and she put up half. I credit carded the other $2,500.
Wow.
And I scrapped and got to LA for this event. And what's so wild, the power of the mastermind, is that I get there, and first of all, I learned. So the big lesson that I learned was narrowing my niche and figuring out a niche. There's so many people and entrepreneurs that want a better life and want a better future, but there's so many opportunities that it's easy to get overwhelmed, and it's easy to be doing a million things. And I was always, had multiple things going on, and so from that I learned to narrow my niche. And so instead of being a social media marketing expert, I decided to become a Facebook marketing expert because it was more narrowly focused. And then it was like modeling. How can you look at someone that's successful and model what they've done? And I looked at Mari Smith. She had a book out, Facebook Marketing, and so I did just that on a shoestring budget. It's like I noticed in her logo she had an M. I made mine an MU. She was turquoise, I was blue. I was so broke. I took a selfie. I painted my dining room wall blue, the color of my blog.
Yeah.
Photo of myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was my
branding.
header.
Yeah.
And so went back to the second mastermind event, and I would go there and bring protein mix in a sandwich bag, and I'd be in this. So everyone would go to lunch. Now, mind you, everyone that went there paid $5,000.
Wow.
So it's high level,
yeah. And
they'd all go to lunch, and I'd be like, "I'll be right back. I'm gonna make a call." You know what I mean? And I'd be mixing this protein in the sink in a hotel. And just imagine how disgusting it is. I bring my own spoon, and I'm like, and the water's never cold in a hotel. You know what I mean? It's like out of the sink. Yeah, and so it's nasty. But you know, I did what it took to get there, and just to speak to the power of a mastermind and the power of learning from people that are or where you want to be. Narrowed my niche, became a Facebook marketing expert. The people that I met in that room connected me with clients. You know, within 30 days, I made $5,000 to cover my expenses and all my credit card debt. Then 90 days, I got my first 5-figure contract, which turned into a 6-figure contract that I met from the mastermind.
Really?
And the guy that I met there was the same guy that I performed with. You know, and I was their social media director, and I performed. And you know, I started thinking of creative ways to get my clients a better return on investment on Facebook advertising. So that's what made me unique. And that's another big lesson, is that as an entrepreneur, it's about the value you provide. You know, it's you doing this show provides value. It's like, you know, for me as a business coach, if someone's paying me $3,000 a month, I need to help them make an additional $100,000 minimum.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because so our paychecks are completely proportional to the amount of value we provide. So, you know, they paid me the 6 figures, and I drove more value to them and more profits, and they loved it. And so the business was growing fast. And one thing I left out is that when I started, I wasn't even on Facebook with a personal profile. You look back at my timeline on Facebook, I started in 2010 on my Facebook.
Really?
Yeah. And my girlfriend at the time was just like, "You're not even on Facebook. Like, are you nuts?" You know what I mean? Like, it was just, she was super supportive. But it was like, I think when you have something that you want and you have a purpose, my purpose was to help people get a return, to help you get a return on investment, that I found a way. I bought the courses, I got resourceful, I invested in myself, I found a way, and did things that some people won't do. And I think that, you know, for an entrepreneur getting into the space, you've got to know that you're going to go through some ups and downs.
Outliers, have you ever wondered exactly how to build affiliate websites that generate cash? Affiliate networks are the secret to the success of several huge brands today. These are the websites that give consumers information about products or services with links to the providers, then gain a commission from the resulting sales. Now there are professional affiliate marketers who are killing it and providing huge value to consumers and to brands. Two of our favorite expert affiliate marketers are the globe-trotting husband and wife team, Jill and Josh Stanton, over at Screw the 9 to 5. If you would like to learn how this successful power couple has built a location-free lifestyle through building affiliate websites, go to outliermagazine.co and click on resources there at the top. There you'll find out how to learn directly from Jill and Josh at the Outlier discount and start generating cash to give you the lifestyle freedom you desire, or just supplement the revenue that you're already making online. So go to outliermagazine.co and click on resources to generate more cash for your business today.
And from that situation, my dream was to sell a business by 30 since I was a kid. And to have a nice place like this and have a family, and what's crazy is I tattooed a cross on my chest with the S from the book The Secret, and it said "Believe 2012" backwards, so that's when I turned 30. So when I'm in the mirror, brush my teeth, you know, I can read it, and that speaks to the power of the law of attraction. Yeah, it's a little nuts. But, you know, when you study the law of attraction, you read the book The Secret, and you start to study personal development, you truly can do anything you put your mind to. So, you know, by having that every day, it was a reminder. Now, people would look at me and be like, "How's that tattoo treating you now?"
Yeah.
You know, 50 grand in debt, and like, how on earth are you gonna do that? And isn't it crazy? I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. Isn't it crazy that in 2012, that's when it happened? That's when I sold the business. And for me, it was multiple, you know, 6 figures. It was over $500,000, and that was the dream. And what's so crazy is that that was my biggest dream, and I put everything on hold for that. I put my relationship on hold. I put hanging out on hold. I was so relentless for that I didn't take time to really enjoy life. So I missed out on vacations. Didn't take a vacation for 7 years. I missed out on some things that kids do in their 20s. And I got it. And what's crazy is once I got it, and at that point, I broke up with a girlfriend of 7 years. I moved to San Diego, I was now, even though I sold it, I had equity and I was the CEO of the company, because I had to help it become successful for 2 years, then I could walk away.
This was the Facebook marketing company?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so what's crazy is that what should have been the happiest time of my entire life, what's crazy is that I got here to this place, I got all this furniture and all this stuff that I thought was going to make me happy, and I will never forget sitting in this seat and literally crying and thinking, what the F, this is not what I thought, because I was alone, I didn't have that many friends out here, and the money, I had more money than I knew what to do with, but what good is it if you're not happy? And it was crazy. And I, you know, just remember just sitting here and like looking out at the water being like, I can't believe that this whole dream that everyone talks about of like selling a business and, you know, it wasn't what I thought. And so from that situation, my big aha moment was meeting a friend named Shanda Sumter, and I looked at her life and she was so energetic and so happy and so fulfilled, and it was like, how do you have this lifestyle? A week, a month off? Like, how on earth can you have that as an entrepreneur? Like, I've never seen anyone do that. And she's like, well, the biggest reason is I have a business coach. And I'm like, really? Like, that made all that difference? And she said, you don't have one? I'm like, no.
Everyone's doing it.
Yeah, and so I literally, it was $36,000, and I just about begged the woman to take me on. She was full. I got in, and it totally changed my life in so many ways, because from that experience, got the coach. I then realized I didn't need business partners. Every business I'd had or started, like I always had someone else that was a partner, and they always sucked the life out of me. I mean, I shouldn't say that in a bad way. That's definitely, they're amazing people, but like I never had the courage to do it all on my own.
Okay.
And because there's always decisions and the risk and everything, and so I have that confidence knowing I had someone to turn to. I got plugged into another mastermind. I did 42 grand of revenue the first month I had the business coach, because I went and bought my services. You know, I did 6 figures, you know, fast from it. And then the biggest aha was looking at, it gave me the courage to walk away from the business that I sold, and I walked away from a good chunk of the income that I made from selling it, because you don't get it all at once. Right. So I walked away from that and said, you know what? My life mission since I was a little boy was to love what I do for work. And you know what? That's what my mission in life is. And I finally figured it out. And like, I think for all of us, we have to all get to a point where we figure out what is our purpose in life, whether it's your God-given purpose or just your purpose as an entrepreneur. Because if you're doing it for money, you're never going to be happy. And so I figured out that my purpose is helping other people actually find theirs. And my purpose is to coach other people and help them avoid some of the stuff that I've gone through and to live a life on fire. And what's crazy is that the life on fire came together after I had the guts to walk away from the money, living here, lots of expenses, and said, I'm walking away from all this income, and I would rather be happy and broke than have this and be, you know, and not love what I do. And so with Life on Fire, you know, it became my mission to have a business that exudes that purpose. And so it's cool that you end up living the brand. And I love that when someone like, you know, has a business that is so dialed into their purpose, it makes you a better person, better entrepreneur. And you know, for me with Life on Fire, my whole mission is to help people love what they do for work. And the biggest concept is to enjoy the journey. So where I missed out on my 20s and I did the sale, instead it's enjoy what you do every single day. You shouldn't hate or have such pain in your business that it's not fun and just say, oh, I'll have fun later. It's love all the moments along the way. And it is possible. So now it's like, I do go on vacations now. Got an amazing girlfriend I've attracted into my life because I've just changed my whole mindset and everything. And, you know, and being in a spot where you're just enjoying the ride. And that's the biggest concept behind Life on Fire, is to love what you do, enjoy the journey, and have everything. Have money, being able to give back, and also having that deep sense of purpose that gets you out of bed in the morning, you know? So wow. It's a mouthful.
Yeah, absolutely. Woo. What an amazing story. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I know that you have all those pieces on your website, and you know, I've seen the tattoo on your website and all that stuff. And I'm just sitting here soaking in the story, and there's definitely some key takeaways in there. Follow your gut, and that money isn't really the true end of happiness. It's really all about being true to yourself and what your own values are. And so that to me is something that automatically, right away, just being in your presence shines through about you, just being completely authentic to yourself. And so I feel that energy from you. Now, as far as being a business coach, it's something that we hear a lot from our mentors is, business coach is the way to go. Keep yourself on track, to have that outside perspective from someone who's doing it. But, I do run into a lot of business coaches that I don't know, sometimes I ask myself, okay, are they effective? What kind of business coach do we choose? What are the characteristics we look for? There's a lot of people that are coaching as a career and may not have actually done the steps or been on the path that you've been on.
It's a great question, and at the end of the day, it's like you want to find someone that's where you want to be, because if they've already done it, it can help you get there faster. And so, like an example of John Lee Dumas, he may not call himself a coach, but it's so similar. And so when we launched our podcast, we got coaching or consulting from him and from Michael O'Neill, and that allowed us to hit the top of the charts really fast, and with our podcast. And if we didn't do that, we would have been scrambling and going through all these challenges, versus getting that mentorship, and him being a guy that has a top podcast, that's where we want to be, and boom, he did some amazing consulting for us. So it's finding someone where you want to be, and then the values have to be totally aligned together, because that's a big thing. And I think with a coach, it's like, can you get the mentorship and the one-on-one time is big, but then also, do they have a network that you're tapping into? And with my coach, that was a big thing. I stepped into a network, made revenue from the network because we hired each other. The person in her network did our branding, did our copy, our web design, everything. And so it's, they have the right mastermind or network. Do you get the one-on-one time? And and do they have the right heart and intentions? Because there's good, bad people in every industry, but that's the biggest thing is, like, are they truly die hard for creating success stories? And I think people, what they like about what we're doing is our mission is to create success stories. And we will go to such great lengths. Having a client where they get 2 30-minute calls a month with me, but they did a product launch and they needed help, and I did 16 hours with them that month.
Wow.
And, it was like, went so far above and beyond because they needed that time and attention to hit their numbers, so that's key. It's just trusting your gut and the right person.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like what you said earlier about ROI, actually creating a return for them, and so they can see that investment is really important. And I hear that over and over.
It's true.
So wow. So now that you really have at this point of having financial success, having personal success with your girlfriend, you mentioned that you're going to be engaged soon.
Oh yeah, it's coming.
Through all that.
It's coming, baby.
What's next? What's you're a major goal setter. I saw it on your vision board or your goal setting sheet. What's next for you and in the long term?
Yeah, creating the success stories is something that wakes me up in the morning every day, and I love what I do, and for that reason. But the big grandioso mission is to lead by example, and this is what I was talking about with kind of the brand is now governing my life, like the skydiving trip. Like, I have to have a fun life because that's what my brand is, and that's what my job is as a coach. So it's like living in that, having a family, getting married, having kids. Like, that's I missed my 20s and I'm making up for it now. It's like doing that, but for the business, it's the big, huge vision is to grow this business and help tons and tons of people along the way, but give back and set an example that you can be an entrepreneur, you can have it all, you can have purpose and give back. And so we're doing a virtual summit. So we're taking major experts. We've got Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank and Gary Vaynerchuk and lots of cool people. Like, it'd be cool to have you a part of it. And
absolutely.
And it's all virtual, and it's 25 sessions, and people can just get access to the live shows. They're all live for free. Just put in their email, and then once that happens, there's a $97 product that we're going to sell that is not a profit-producing product. Instead, it's I'm donating a $1,000 course. John Lee Dumas is donating a course. We're getting all these gurus and cool people to donate courses. So something that's $97 is literally going to be worth $10,000. And when they buy it, half is going to go to charity and half is going to go to fuel the marketing for the event. So just think, cool. It's so tied back to the perks card.
Absolutely.
And so what's so cool is that I'm so confident in that this vision that I've already guaranteed $25,000 to build a school in Guatemala with Pencils of Promise. Since that point, I've got one client that's already guaranteed his $25,000 donation, and I think we're gonna do 6 figures in the whole project for charity.
Wow.
And what's so wild about that is what I see is that my mission is to not only help create success stories, but help inspire entrepreneurs to give along the way. And whether you are spiritual or not, there's so many different reasons why giving is going to lead to a more fulfilled life, and you're helping people, but it all comes back to. And it's just so cool that many of our clients are weaving in giving back with their business models.
Yeah.
And so my crazy plan is that as an entrepreneur, at some point in my life, I want to be giving $1 million a year to charity.
Yeah.
But how cool is it that, what if that inspires even just one person to give $10,000 a year or $100,000 a year? So I just picture that, at some point at the end of my life, being able to look back and seeing all these ripples that were created because of the example that we showed, and people giving back and enjoying that and inspiring other people to want to give back. And that's partly why we do Hit Forward Friday, show. And so it's a big vision, but we're already doing it. There's already that $25,000 donation, and it's just super exciting because I just feel like we're all here for a reason, and the more that we believe in ourselves and realize that is true, no matter what level you're playing at, every single person has a gift and has a talent and can give something to this world. And why not create a legacy? Why not be bold enough to say, you know what, I'm going to live a crazy life on fire and give back and have an amazing life that I fully picture just being happy at the end of my life, and being proud of what was done, because it's tied to a bigger purpose than just me or just us or money,
Right, fantastic.
So.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'd like to talk about, we talk about the benefits and the what life is like, and you just have this energy about you, about what you, not necessarily in a selfish way saying what you've accomplished, but you're just so happy about the things that you've been through, and you're appreciative, but I really want to give a very transparent point of view about entrepreneurship.
Sure.
We have a lot of people out there that are thinking about jumping into it,
Sure.
that maybe just have, or they're in the time when they're putting protein powder in the bag and mixing it up. Give us a real point of view, even at the point where you are with these freedoms that you've acquired. What's the real scoop? Is everyday rainbows and puppy dogs? And I love that you're going this direction, because it's something where it's a good. My arms are like goosebumps thinking about it. You know what I mean? Because there's so much hype, and there's so much hype on network marketing and internet marketing and fast cash and real estate and entrepreneurship. And I'll never forget my mother saying, "There's no shortcuts." Like, there's no shortcuts. Like, I even, there was a check that came in the mail as a scam, but I thought that it would work, and there's just no shortcuts. And at the end of the day, it's not for everybody. And it's actually so sad to me that some people become an entrepreneur if it's not right for them. You can have a life on fire. My brother has a life on fire with a job that he loves. He works from home. His wife doesn't have to work. They're raising beautiful kids. And I always despised corporate, and it was always corporate versus entrepreneurs and us and them. But there's great job opportunities too. And I've seen so many people that become entrepreneurs, and if it's not cut out for you, then you end up going through so much pain that's unneeded. So it's like, if you've got a mission inside you, and you're willing to literally relentlessly go for it, and that nothing's stopping you, and you have that mindset, then go for it. Because Life on Fire, it's grown so fast. We're so happy with what we're doing and how we're helping people. But I talked about today with my team member Ryan, that we had clients today that did a launch, didn't work out, and it did 50,000 in revenue. It was a good thing, but it didn't do 100,000, and it was the first time. And so they were so bent out of shape that they were literally willing to pack everything up. And part of the message to them, and part of what Ryan and I talked about after that call,
is that he said, man, I just want to say, it's crazy working with you and how much that my team members changed, because there's so many challenges that we deal with on such a frequent basis that he used to get really stressed out and frustrated and overwhelmed. And it's knowing that as an entrepreneur, being outside your comfort zone is a day-to-day thing.
Yeah.
Every day of my life, I'm usually doing something that I've never done before. It's doing a video that I haven't prepared for. What I mean? It's growing and being okay with being outside your comfort zone. It's like comfortable being uncomfortable, and that lifestyle is very high pressure. I have changed my mindset to love that, and that's why, like, if you ever saw my first videos, disaster. I actually had a full-blown fear of public speaking that stemmed from something that happened when I was a kid, where I was put on the spot at this big whole thing, and I used to stand up at a networking meeting, say my name in my business, and I literally would be freaking out inside, like have to vomit, like freaking out.
Yeah, it's one of the top. It's the top fear.
Yeah, but like going through the personal development and knowing that that we can control all these emotions in our bodies, and that we can control our minds, and we can be the best version of ourselves. Committing to personal development and getting comfortable being uncomfortable and okay with high pressure situations, that's all necessary, because every day with Life on Fire, there's challenges, big challenges. But we now look at it and look at the positives when something goes wrong. We're always just thinking, what's the solution? Because it's so easy to say that to take the victim role and make excuses and blame others, but instead we take responsibility and we're like, all right, that sucked. We just lost a ton of money because of a screw up or something. But at the end of the day, what are the positives that came out? And then how do we respond to it? How, if you've got the right values and you're a good person, people will understand screw-ups, and so it's all how you react to it, and just being solution-focused, because that will get you through all the challenges, because there are tons of challenges.
Right, and there are so many gems that you're throwing out to us, and we need to capture those and remember them, because I think, as we start interfacing with you online at lifeonfire.com, we start to get these doses of information. But just being here with you and experiencing that with you, it sinks in. So I hope it's sinking in for you. You are the king of visualization from what I've seen. I mean, your tattoo, your goal board in your room.
This bad boy.
This bad.
It's a whole story right there. I think we might be out of time for that.
I have another interview. But anyway, those are great takeaways that we really appreciate. So if there's just one last thing that you want to leave our entrepreneurs with, along with everything that you've already given, then let's go with that.
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing is that you have to absolutely love what you do, and so that means you got to drill down and look at your current work situation. If you wouldn't do what you're doing for work if money wasn't involved. So for example, if you weren't getting paid, would you still do it? And if the answer is no, then you're probably not doing the right thing. And you know what? I can guarantee you, John Lee Dumas, if he wasn't getting paid, he probably would still do that. You would probably still do these because they're fun and you're helping people, and you enjoy it, and there's a real mission behind that and purpose. Because if you wouldn't do it if you're not getting paid, then you're not at the level of being that aligned. And that means to me that you've got to go through maybe another business. Maybe you've got to change something. You've got to fall and fail at a couple more businesses until you find the perfect fit. And there always is a perfect fit, because no one should go through life not loving what they do for work. And that's the core message, but it's got to be that level where you do it regardless of getting paid. And to find that, I mean, it takes looking at your passions and looking at what you're good at. Start there, and then literally it stinks, but it's trial and error. And what I would say is, if you have to, every entrepreneur has a number, and how many businesses you have to start and fail at before you make it. And if you're an entrepreneur, you have to answer the question, which is, are you willing to fail at X amount of businesses? You don't know if your X is 1. In my case, it literally was about 11 when I break down all the stories. And what if your number was 20 as an entrepreneur? Would you go through that pain? And if the answer is no, then you shouldn't do it. And if the answer is yes, then go full bore and be inspired and love what you do every day and help people.
I love that takeaway. And to recap that for me, what I internalize that as is know what you're getting into, right? Mm-hmm. Live your life passionately and authentically to you, whether it's corporate, whether it's entrepreneurship, whatever it is. Yeah. Live passionately and be prepared for what you're jumping into, and just have grit and do it.
That's it, the grit.
Yeah.
Get your grit on.
Yeah, get your grit on you. So thank you so much for
For
welcoming
sure.
us in. I so appreciate it.
Oh.
And we're living a life on fire.
Awesome.
Go to outliermagazine.co, check out the walkthrough of this beautiful apartment and where all the magic happens, and we'll see you there.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.